Hello, hello. So I got Coral Island and decided to try it out today. Even though I'm not gonna lie, I have tried it out. Does it do a new game? Okay, so it does give you the name. I'm gonna name this farm. I said I was gonna I guess I'll name it streaming. Makes sense, right? I have a bit of a belly. We'll do that. And yeah, I think I'll name this farm streaming. Excuse me. I remember when I was first hearing about this game, I kept saying I was gonna have one save file for every person that's in the game that you can marry. I don't know about that anymore, but we'll see. Heck. Yeah. Get all of the hairs. Would I have my other character? Because locks. Do this hair different. The hair is interesting. Might do that. They could have done it a little bit. That might look better when it's not such high quality graphics. It blends in. Kind of like that too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Honestly, a lot of times I'll just braid my locks over like that. See, this would also look better with lower graphics. Really nice with lower graphics. Oh, you can be bald, that's cool. Pigtails. I don't like that it's yellow though. They need more options with hair that's not straight. Yeah, it's the high graphics that are like throwing me off. What is that old cartoon? Like Rockin' Rooster? Is that what it was called? Reminds me of that. Ooh, that might be the hair. Okay, let's go one by one. side parts. That's cute. We might be doing this one. Okay, that's not straight. That's interesting. Ooh. We might want to do this too. That's cute. It's a lot of hair too. Okay, so I like that one, but what about the headband? Let's just do that. Hair. Oh, and we have different styles of eyebrows. Are there 9? Okay. 1 is okay. 2 is alright. Like, I want them to be thickish, but that's... I'm just gonna go with this one just because I don't... That one. Eyes... Oh, I didn't change the color in my last one. Eye texture? Oh. No, you could say a whole lot about that. I'm just gonna leave it. Your nails. First one is decent. That's the same one. Okay. Wider. No. That's a slope. You have a... Okay. 6. So are 6 and 7 the same, just the bridge? Oh my goodness, why does it look like it's like... I think I want her to have a big nose. Like a wider nose. It's not a big nose. And we're gonna have bigger lips. And a smile, so 2 is an option. Six, 7. Let's do this one. Oh wait, we can do colors. We can't do like lipstick. Customize tone. Yeah, so like that. It can be like lip gloss-ish. A decent color. Oh, facial hair. I have an Underdesk elliptical that I'm using. Just like this. Little beeps. Hey, that's cute. I mean, she's not gonna have facial hair, but I just want to look at the different options. just to see what there is. I like these though. Good choice. Outfit. I don't want the original outfit because just because. And I think that's what I have in my other. Stand out. Like that. Kind of boring. That works. Let's do this. It stands out. Bio. Farm name. I don't think it let me put that many words. I think that's what it was. Oh no, it does. Complete. Later. Yeah. Let's do it. I don't want to spend all day creating my player. Be do be do. It took this long last time. And I haven't gotten that far in my other save. Like, I haven't gotten to the next season, so I don't know much of what. I haven't given myself a lot of spoilers. You leave Pokio. Start a new life on Coral Island. Yeah, because this is set in Southeast Asia. Pretty. I didn't see that before. Oh, the whale! And dolphin. The dog running. A good opening scene. Hello, Adventures with V. Welcome back to Coral Island, your new home. Now that has been throwing me off. Welcome back. I don't know what that's about. I haven't spoiled that for myself yet. It's been a long time, Adventures with V. You don't have to keep saying my name. Good to see you again. Connor, I don't recognize you. I can't remember the last time we had a visitor. I trust you had a wonderful journey with Mr. Wataru. Should I say yes, it was safe and comfortable? Or should I say I'm still not sure what I'll do here? Should I say it's weird? It feels like I've done this before, maybe in another life. And him saying welcome back. I'll just say yeah, it was safe and comfortable. Great, I expected nothing less from Mr. Wataru. He's the best sailor you could ask for. You must be quite tired from the journey. Let's head over to your new place. Cool, thanks. These graphics are nice. Look at her hair. Joko, all right, the floors are done. Dinda. Oh my, what coincidence. We've just finished patching things up here. Is this the new farmer? See, I'm glad I picked those colors. They stand out. That's right, Adventures with V. This is Dinda and Joko. They're the local carpenters. Nice to meet you. Just gonna say my name a million times. Hello. Name again. It's always exciting to welcome someone new to our little island. Cute. Indeed. Use your name a lot, my goodness. This will be your new house. It's a bit run down, but listen, it's free to me. I appreciate that. Excuse me. Oh, oops, Mr. whatever his name is. Did you just say we did a poor job here? Her face. Ooh, he's sweating. No, I mean... Don't worry, I'm just joking. Unfortunately, we could only patch up the roof so it doesn't leak and replace some of the rotten wood. That's more than enough. That was... I appreciate not having the roof leak, you know? And rotten wood. I'm allergic to mold, so thank you. If you want more renovations, you can visit our shop and house in Hillside, northeast of here. Everything is northeast of here. We won't charge you for it, but you'll need to gather the materials yourself. Oh, that's really nice. Once we restore the foundation, you can decorate the house the way you like. We've placed the complete instructions in your mailbox. That's what we're gonna work on first. Well then, it's about time we head home. See you both around. Take care. Say your name, and good luck. Bye. I'm thinking of music. As you can see, people are very excited that you're here. Doubly so for Sam. You should pay him a visit once you're more settled in. He's the owner of the general store in town. A lot of people to meet. And that is the field where I'm guessing you'll spend most of your time. Oh. Yeah, at least you've given me a lot of resources. I didn't see this. It's a bit messy now, but I'm sure you'll take care of it in no time. I don't know about all that. Once you harvest your crops, you can put them or anything else you have to sell here in the shipping bin. I'll ship the content overnight to the appropriate stores in town and you'll receive the funds the following day. So you're gonna sneak over here in the middle of the night. That's kind of creepy, Connor, but okay. I'll be going now so you can get some rest. Oh, since you just got here, you probably haven't bought anything for anything you need for farming yet, you know. Here's a little something from the town to get you started. You guys are nice. Oh, thank you. You received a watering can, an axe, scythe, and some random seeds. Oh, nice. If you need anything else, I'm at your disposal. His mouth wide open. Come to me with your problems, questions, samin sake. Welcome home, Adventures with V. Thanks, Connor. Okay, so we want to plant 10 seeds and water 10 seeds. Ooh, it is interesting in here. I appreciate what they've done. Some mail. Here's the mail and never. No, I'm playing. To repair your house, you'll need to gather some materials. Please collect 50 wood and 20 stone. We can do that right now. Once you have everything, head over to the carpenter and place an order at the counter. Your house will be repaired on the same day. 50 wood, 20 stone. We can do that. Grow crops. Let me see if I can speak. To grow crops, start by clearing debris from your farmland. Press while equipping a scythe, pickaxe, or axe to clear debris. Then equip the hoe and press to till the soil. Equip a seed bag, place seeds, okay. Equipping your watering can, water the seeds. They need to be watered daily, okay. Okay. But we also need wood. And rocks, right? So while I'm clearing, I could be clearing all the wood and the rocks. Okay, so we have turnip and daisies. Let's do 10 here. That's 9 and 10. Oh, I got trash. Aha! Hey, Jay. We still have to harvest and go to Sam's. Okay, let's just... yeah, it's early. We can put my energy. That's one thing I have to remember. This wood. Don't want to get anything other than the wood. I know I got some trash in my pocket. No. Gave me something to eat. Okay, so I'm halfway done with stones. Stones aren't hard to do. Wood shouldn't be either, because is it 2 that I get? No, it's just 1. Let me get the stone. Need to get coal, but okay. We got the stone. Cool. Get all the wood. Let's get all the wood. Oops. This thing doesn't go for that long. Oh. Move the other way. Hey. Wrong way. There's also something that I need to get by the pier that I didn't know about until I decided to be nosy and see what kind of stuff could I have missed. Nosy, because you're gonna learn. Those videos, people say 10 things I wish I would have known. $46. Okay, we're coming close. 48, 49, 50. Okay. Okay, okay. So let's go, let's go. I do believe I can hit M for map. Yes. That is a huge area. I want to go down here. I also need to meet all of these people. Carpenter, I don't remember where you guys are. I don't know. Sam's General Store, we will definitely go there. Joko, where is Carpenter area? Okay, okay, I'm wasting time. The wait. This fiber. I need all these things. Oh, let me meet her. Hi. How lovely to see a new face around here. Hi, Betty. Nice to meet you. You can call me Betty, dear. We will. Thank you. Okay, this mic is moving. I don't like it. There we go. I think you can press on them twice. You're the first visitor we've had in a while. I'm worried. After the oil spill last year, tourists hardly come here. Yeah, that sounds a little dangerous. Doesn't sound good. Let me just go ahead and eat all of it. Actually, let me go down here, because something you can only get on certain days. Ooh. Raj. Hello, I don't think I've seen you before. Are you new in town? Sure am. See you around. You don't want to tell me your name? Okay. Alright. Ooh. Hello to you too. I'm Macy. Where are you visiting from? It's nice to finally have a tourist in town. I'm just taking selfies. Oh, you just moved to Coral Island. That's amazing. Welcome and confusing. Why? Well, I hope you're getting around all right. Coral Island is kind of big, so getting your bearings can be pretty hard at first. It is big out here. Oh, okay, Beach Shack is open. We might visit. Don't know if I'm going the right way. Oh, she's funny to me. You're the new arrival, huh? Don't bother me and I won't bother you. Fine. Ha, psych. You're in my way. No, seriously, you are in my way. She is not the most polite person. There is a little gnat in here. Flying in my face. Okay, I'm trying to go. Oh, I totally missed it. And then I have to find the carpenter. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I know where Sam's shop is. Look at the fire. You don't understand what it says. Okay. That's fine. That's cool. Diving spot ahead. Okay, now where did she say? Coral Inn. Yes. We can read that. Thought that was Theo. Well, hello. Oh yeah. Yeah, I heard about you. You're that new farmer from San Francisco, right? Not quite. Oh, that's right, Pokio. I'm Theo. Me, I'm from here. I fish for a living. Cool. So, I thought this was where... Okay. A very ornate sculpture. It looks familiar. Alright, let's go see Sam. Since I can't get what I thought I could get. Perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Gosh. There's Betty. What is she looking at? A bird feeder. Oh, nice. I can't get... Here's Sam's. Hey, Adventures with V. I knew you would eventually make your way here. I wanted to personally introduce you to the owner of this store. This is Sam. He's been running this establishment for a while now. I wish they would read these out instead of us having to read it, to be completely honest. Hello, Adventures with V. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the general store. You'll find most of your farming needs here. Most of the seeds I sell are seasonal, though. It would do you good to keep this in mind. If you need help, just holler. I'll be by the cash register. Well, isn't this nice, Sam? You might finally put a dent in that seed stock of yours. He doesn't seem too amused. Anyway, before you get going, Adventures with V, your moving in was quite unexpected. I'm sure a lot of people are anxious, well, more like curious to see who the new farmer is. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to folks in town? Meet townies. This guy is so weird to me. Oh, a new face. Feeling really good vibes from you, mate. May our paths cross again. Okay. I need to visit the carpenter. Where the heck is the carpenter? Oh, wait a minute. We gotta go meet the dog. Bon Bon. Bon Bon has a full belly. He must have just had a big meal. Bon Bon's so cute. Can we talk to him again? He seems to be enjoying his day. Birds. Okay. Carpenter. Where the heck is the carpenter? I see Joko, so I'm gonna... Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. You are here. So I just gotta go up here and at the... Okay. Turn left. We got it. Oh, and I think I saw... Yeah, somebody said you can... Okay. You can go through the garbages and see what you can find. From everything I've seen, this is my favorite character. Oh, hi there. My name is Raphael. I'm one of the blacksmiths here in Starlet Town. He's so shy. Little tail. Wait, we haven't met you. Hi. Ooh. Taco. Oh my gosh. I love that name. You say hello to Taco. He seems to like it, and that's all that matters. That sure is all that matters. And really, we should get these. Yeah. Let's get them. Because you can eat those. Oh, there's somebody. Bree. Oh, you're the new farmer. I was worried there for a bit about a potential competitor. Listen. Nothing to worry about, it seems. Okay, ma'am. Walter and I own the vineyard. You see, our clients are mostly abroad. Shall I send over a bottle? I don't know if I trust you. You seem not too nice. Well, well, well. What have we here? No, I'm joking. If it isn't the new owner of the lot. Or should I say the farm? Sure, the farm. Apologies, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Walter. These are some snobby people. Alright, let me see. Exactly. Okay. So I can follow that down. Or I can go down here. Actual opening. Yes, there is. Carpenter. No, I don't need to talk to him. I've already introduced myself to him. Repair your house. Oh, how did I not realize that this is where you get the barns and the coops and the stable? Oh, fish pond. Oh, nice. Any insect to multiply? Oh my gosh, that's really smart. So if there's something, should I put, can you put like multiple insects and fish in there? Because if so, please help yourself. Except I found some wasabi earlier. Is it even in season? Hold on. You can buy stones and wood. Okay. Nice. Okay. House upgrade. Wait, I don't think that's what I wanted. Okay. Joko, honey, a slight change of plans. Adventures with V is here with the building materials. I didn't even choose what house I wanted. Let's head over to the farm and repair Adventure with V's cabin. Wow, that's awesome. Let's do it. Oh, I'm going with them. You walk. I like that they all walk a little bit different. Dinda and Joko are repairing your house. How are the house upgrades? More comfortable, right? Now move it and help me get your stuff inside, kiddo. The walls are nice. Okay. What's she laughing at? Is that fireplace always there? Might not have noticed it. Ooh, that old thing was really heavy. We're finished. You know what? Those types of TVs were really heavy. Flat screens are too, though. Like they're more awkward, though, I think, rather than heavy. But yeah, those old ones were heavy. We're finished. What do you think? Looks brand new. Thank you. No more holes. Thanks. How long is the warranty? I'm not gonna say how long is the warranty. I'll say no more holes. Thanks. I hope you can sleep better now. We didn't sleep at all, actually, in the other house. Look, no more moldy wood. Now that's always positive. We replaced all of it. Thank you so much, because we also built a new foundation for the house. They were busy. That means it's strong enough for more furniture now. You can start decorating to make things comfier. Speaking of decoration, We have a furniture store in town. But since there are fewer tourists, we don't stock many options anymore. No one's buying, you know? Check it out though. You might see something you like. If you want, we can go there, right? Alright, that's enough. You'll scare the kid. Her face. Oh, sorry. I got too excited there. We love that store. Even got some of my cousins helping out there. It's a family business for us. Feel free to visit when you have the time. It's in the middle of town. Shouldn't be hard to find. I think it's by Sam's, actually. Alright, that's all for... Honey, aren't you forgetting something? Oh yeah, the TV. We threw in a TV for you, free of charge. That's so nice of them. It's old and bulky, but it still works perfectly. It gets a good amount of channels too, like this weather. Well, sometimes you gotta smack it good at a 60-degree angle like this. 60 degrees? Not 90? The channels are very useful, like the weather report on the Weather Channel, so you can skip watering the crops on rainy days to go fishing or something. Okay. I don't know what you like, but you get the idea. There are variety shows too, love them. Some shows have useful tips if you pay close attention. Okay, I gotta start watching the TV. I guess that's all for now. See you around. See you around. Don't forget about the furniture store, alright? These laughs. Your house just got bigger. Open journal to claim reward. Completed. Ooh. Okay, I gotta meet more people. We can meet the people. Yeah, let's go off to the left. There's 3 people to meet. We met them in the vineyard. Oh yeah, we gotta go up there. Now, I went to the cavern last time and it's closed off. Oh, the school! Let's go to the school. We'll meet 6 people. You know, I'm telling you, I was told that it had to be the first day. Maybe a certain time. There's a flower. It's very pretty. Bug. There's something we can get for free. I want it, you know? Google this. This is... Hopefully that's stopping time in the game. Okay. Okay, yeah, so there's a basket. Since I learned... Okay, actually, I will be right back. Couple minutes. I'm back. Okay, resume game. That's like the 1st and 15th of every month. And it is that, so I didn't look in the wrong spot, which is what I was afraid of. We get some trash. Actually, crafting. Oh, we can. Okay, so I do want to get some trash and some wood. Because this is a lifesaver. But first, let's go meet people. She really likes the bird. I did say I was going to go to the school. Ooh, it's a beetle. Who we should get married to in this game. Oh, yeah, he's only here for the first couple days, right? Derek, what did you say? It's nice to be outdoors, don't you agree? Sure. People here are all so easy on the eyes, you especially. Oh, so tell me, what's your deal? I didn't talk to him that much in the last time. Let's go say hi to Pablo and Rafael. Listen, where's your brother? Is he not here? I guess he's not here. Alright, well, I'm gonna give you this. He said, yup. Okay. You're welcome. Alright, let's go to school. To meet all the children. Oh, there he is. You must be. I sure am. Damn, I wasn't expecting you to look like this. Listen, is that... Am I supposed to say thank you? You're surprisingly cute. Oh. Okay. Well, it's nice to finally meet you. Name's Pablo. I don't know jack about farming, but hey. He doesn't know jack about farming. If you need help with tools, come by my shop just north of town and I'll see what I can do. Ciao. Oh, kids. Wait, let's do the long way around. The best seat. So cute. We are one. Together we are one. Peace. It's kind of set up. Yeah, okay. Let's say it's like a observatory. Like it's supposed to be. Ooh. My name? My name's Oliver. Why? Yeah, this is a normal day on the island, I guess. Except now you're here. Okay. Oops. Excuse me, Oliver. Are you really the new person? Dad said you are a farmer. Is that right? What kind of farming tools do you have? I like Archie. Okay, I believe you. Why don't you look like a farmer, though? Overalls don't look like a farmer? My uncle Surya is new, too. I like Surya, too. Just like you. Hello, Misadventures. It would be nice to meet you, too. I'm Valentina. I think that's Pablo's daughter. Yeah, it's really fun here. You get to fly kites and build snowmen in winter. That'll be fun. You're the new farmer who owns that lot? I used to play there with my friends. Why she look so worried? Can me and my friends still go to your farm and play in the mud? As long as you don't make a mess, yeah. Be tracking mud all over my farm, though, little girl. Oh. This is my first time noticing this. My name is Randy. I'm an elementary school teacher. What did you say your name was? Ah, yes, Adventures with V. It's nice to meet you. He is holding the book with his strong hand. Oh, let me be nice to poor Randy. Hey you, is this our new neighbor? Making your way around town, huh? Have you been to the tavern yet? I have not. Frank is there all the time. Have you two met? Behind the bar, yeah, a friend of yours? I know who's Frank. The bartender, yes, I know I've seen him, but no, I haven't quite actually spoken. No, I haven't gone there. Oh, he's my husband. You know what? You should stop by our house sometime. Frank will cook us dinner. That sounds wonderful. Yes, you can tell us your story. That's very nice. Did I meet all the people they wanted me to? Because they had a certain amount. No. Guacamole. We are not buying anything here. We need another 100. I know that because I get extra spaces. Nobody tell me. Okay, we want to go over here and down. I don't think I can get there. So, oh, because, yeah, because you don't actually meet her. And give flowers to people. Are there people here? I don't think so. Mayor's house. Okay, there's a stranger over here. You're gonna get a flower, stranger. Don't walk away from me. Don't walk away, girl. Adventures with V. I'm Dippa. Oh, a corporate employee? And now you're a farmer? What a twist, huh? Here, there's a tulip. This is great, thank you. Oh, you like tulips? She likes it. Okay. And then who else did I give him? I didn't give him anything that he likes or... Oh, but wait. Does he dislike? I don't think so, because he just said yep. Okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Friend. Where have you been? Oh, this heifer. You said you're a farmer, right? That explains the outfit. How cute. Out of all the places you could go, why on earth would you move here? You're making me question that. Rude. Cute to nobody. I need to stop singing. Look at all these people. Oh, the new neighbor. I like that they have different ages. I really like that. So someone really was moving into town, huh? I didn't believe it until I saw you myself. I don't often go to the part of the island where your farm is. It was overgrown the last time I visited, just a mess. It's still a mess, but you don't have to be so rude. How is it so far? Sorry, don't mean to interrupt. Good day, stranger. Oh, you just moved to the farm? Welcome to the community. My name is Anne. You're going to be a farmer, huh? What brings you out here then? By the way, you can call me Paul. The docu-series Friends with Wildlife? Yeah. My wife and I made that. I can't believe you know about it. Cool. Oh, cool, cool, very cool. Go to the clinic. Am I going the right way? No, that's the hoity-toity people's house. Oh. Oh no, don't leave! Oh, there's multiple people. Hold on. Wait, I don't think I... Oh, I did. Spring is my least favorite season because, you know, taxes. But you don't ever get money back? Connor, what have you been doing? Peanuts. Oh, to be a cat on Coral Island. Are you a good kitty? You swear Peanut answers back, but maybe you're just sleepy. Oh, we've already met Raj. We have not met Aaliyah. Oh, hello, I don't think we've met. My butt hurts. I'm Aaliyah. Okay. Nice, nice. I saw somebody. Hold on, hold on. Because I know we can talk. Oh, there's Frank. Well, hello to you. Achoo! Don't be sneezing in my face. Ugh, spring, not the best time to move here. Hope that's just allergies. By the way, I'm Char. Achoo! Stay away from this guy. It's a failed dish. It's consumable, but it's negative. Sir. Wild. Alright, let's say hi to him. Whoa, look who's finally here. The new farmer, right? I'm Frank. Folks at the tavern have been talking about you. You should stop by sometime. Oh yeah, you guys did tell me to go to the tavern. Oh yeah, you. Oh hey, I have to say you're not what I expected. What? People keep saying that. I don't understand. Oh no, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I heard from the twins who run the inn at that a new farmer moved in. I just thought, you know, never mind. Okay. Yes, I do know how to 5 of any flower. Okay. It's not #1 on my list of things to do, but okay. That's Betty, right? Oh, she's on a mission. Betty, you going to sleep? You live here? Going to bed, Betty? Where you going, Betty? The Hog 19x7 partial gift of Olivia Barnes. We already met her. She's Macy, right? Oh yeah, I can't even say hello because I've already met her. Alright, where's all my other party people? Oh, that is the tavern. Why do people keep saying go to the tavern? Abandoned villa. There is a townie. The beach shack. We will go there. Get down there. Oh. Take me out. I think the beach tavern might be about to close. Oh, I met you. Oh, nice to meet you too. My name is Everest. Eva for short. We don't see too many new faces, so your arrival is great for the town. Yeah, the beach shack just closed. Okay, so where are all the people? They're still in there? There's a stranger. One more chapter. Oh, Adventures with V? As in Adventures with V? Adventures with V? Girl. It's nice to finally meet you. I like her tattoos. Anybody else? Farmer? Cool. I'm one of the doctors here. Hold on! Who are you? You're... Ew, his face. The new farmer? I see. No offense, but you look like you've never held a tool in your life. There is a single little gnat in this room, and it won't leave me alone. Where did you come from? I never come in this room, so I don't... There's nothing in here. I don't understand why it's in here. I don't know why Connor lets anyone move in. Our community is great just as it is. You know what? It's very much giving Sundown Town energy. You don't want newcomer. I don't appreciate that, Jim. My home now just as much as it is yours. There's still somebody in there that I haven't met. And somebody over there. We'll just have to meet them tomorrow. Whoever's in here. I'm not waiting for them. Especially when I can just go over here. That's Eva. This place is probably closed. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, I have not met you. I like the stretch marks. Oh, hey, it's nice to see you again. What? It'll be nice to have more farmers here. Being able to get local produce will be a game changer. What do you mean nice to meet me again? I need you to explain. Mom, you have a visitor. Oh, is that Valentina? Yeah, I've met her already, so I can't meet her again. Okay. Oh, it's outside as a stranger. Is that you, Adventures of Thee? Who are these people? Wow, I almost didn't recognize you in that getup. How do Alice and whatever her name is with the stretch marks know me? I don't know them. Oh, so you're the one moving into the lot, huh? That would explain the outfits. Listen, I'll give you this to stop acting like that. It's so cool. Thank you. So weird. Right, it's not just the town, you know. The inn isn't as busy as it used to be. Hopefully with you moving in, it's a sign of something good. Let me see if she... like she liked it. Oh, how did I get information on what she loves? That's interesting. That must be a glitch. Because I don't see anything else other than things that I've given. Huh. Interesting. Except for Alice. Runs the family inn with her twin sister Suki. She likes discussing unexplained phenomena. Which she studied a little back in university. Okay. A lot of bugs out. I don't have the ability to get them. Okay, so I need... I think it's wood and garbage, right? Yeah, wood and trash. Trash. Just focus on wood today. Because I don't have space. But I want to save the mushroom for tomorrow. Actually, let me be clear with how many I need. 20? 12. Okay, so now we got 20. So I don't think it's gonna... Oh, a coffer. Bring it to the blacksmith. A reason to go visit my friends tomorrow. We got compost. Might be able to get this today. There's glass. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. We've already gotten it. Me shoot. I gotta walk all the way around because this place is set up. And that's not like it's a deal. Still open. It's funny, I turned down footprint, but you know, the sound still pretty loud. Like, I don't need to know when I'm walking, you know? I can tell because it's me walking. All right, let's craft. But how do I empty the inventory? I guess I gotta find a person to give the flowers to. I mean, who's still out and about? Oh, community center. There's people there. Okay. Okay, okay. Community center. Meet some people, give flower. Make a chest. Get here. The people. Since we know you, I'll give you this. This is all right. Thanks. He looks like a lumberjack. Just call me Jack. I run the local ranch. Oh, yes, we're gonna be friends. Your lot has plenty of plenty of space to raise livestock. Once you're settled, maybe we can discuss raising animals. Having another rancher could be good for the local economy. We might be able to make local cheese again. I will be the cheesy cheese maker. Okay, so we gotta figure out how to unlock that because, yeah. Look at all the beautiful options. Oh, they're so beautiful. I like black cats. A hippostrom? A rabbit? The lizard. And some dogs. And a fennec fox. Oh. Two different types. Oh, it's so cute. I like pit bulls and Rottweilers and all of those supposedly scary animals. Litter puppies. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. There's somebody else in here, right? Yeah, me and somebody who I don't know. Where are you at? Somebody who I don't know. Or maybe since people keep saying welcome back. Somebody that I... Oh. Hi. Yes, Adventures with V. I've been meaning to meet you. My name is Millie. It's so exciting to have people moving in. Have you met everyone? No. I've not met everyone. But now I can go and make my thing-a-thing. So that I can have some space in my pockets. I can dump the wood and the seeds. I'll keep the mushroom. Oh no! Hold on, I gotta go give this to somebody. I was not thinking. Okay, Millie, you're getting a gift. I hope this wasn't too much trouble. I accept. Thank you. Girl, I picked it out the ground. It was not too much trouble at all. I appreciate the appreciation. I'm gonna put it right here. See for craft. Yes. Gate back. How do we... Oh. Yes, yes. Put. Oh, compost, fiber. Okay. There's a lot of things that we can... This here. Okay. Okay. I don't want to drop that. I mean, since I still have energy, I may as well, right? Start clearing some of this stuff. I got my glass. I'm not gonna go back down there to get the other glass. Just when I get down there. Got some scrap. Oh, low stamina. All right. Yes, we do have low stamina. We don't want to pass up. Go ahead and drop off all of our stuff. We'll put the wild seeds in there. And we'll just go on to sleep before we fall out. Is it 1 hour has been? So it looks like I'm probably be doing 2 days. We have no skills, unfortunately. Excuse me? You felt a large impact last night. I sure did. Introducing the basic bag. It has a total of 20 compartments. That's 5 more compartments than the basic tool belt. Carry more, do more, worry less. Available now at Sam's General Store for 500 coins. So I didn't want to buy anything. Helps a lot. Okay. I need to get a new song in my head. Clearing some stuff. You know what I should be doing? Clearing a path around my farm. I don't have to keep going the long way. I need to be doing. I have room in my pockets. There's some room in my pocket. My pocket. Oh. Oh, that's a whole tree. Fiber, pine cone, sap, and wood. Oops. Whoops. Wasting energy. Is that Ash? Get out my way. Let's go ahead and eat. Before I get a notice and miss it. I mean, we can go through this. Doesn't have to be weird. Okay, inventory full. Bird. In about an hour in game, I need to get to turn this in. Means I need to chill a bit on everything else, but I can walk around. There we go. I think that was smart of me to do. No food, no food. But we did water, which was smart. Let me fill the water. And it's almost time for them to be open, so I'll go ahead. Oh. Go down to the diving platform to see if that thing is there. Even though it says every... Diving says straight ahead. No. Come back. Alright. I wish this game had... know exactly how to... Or is it... I wish I had constant music. Hi, Everest. Or Brie. These days I prefer homemade meals as much as possible. I consider it my way of making amends for the carelessness of my youths. My youth, such a laugh. Okay. Look, he's having fun. Ooh, more seeds. You better not tell me that I don't have space. Let's go speak to him. You live here, huh? I see you around often. Sir, it's been 2 days. Oh, a farmer. Well, I do farm work too. If you need help, contact me. I'll give you a friends and family price. So you want to come clear my land? Because I would gladly accept your help. You can keep what you find. Oh, it costs 20. Jade locket. Nice. Let me talk to him. Come and talk to me. I'm trying to persuade my cousins to expand the inn business. Maybe they could add karaoke. The inn. Oh, so Frank. Wait a minute. The inn business is ran by your ex-wife. How can that be your cousin? Let's not go there. Let people choose songs and sing along. Is he talking about Frank? And they keep turning me down. Oh. Well, I think it's a good idea, Pablo. Didn't see the potential, I guess. Give it this. Good stuff. Thanks, Adventures with V. Where's your brother? Why do they keep disappearing? Must have passed him. I have not met you yet, aren't you, Surya? Yeah. For your adventures with V, I've heard about you from my uncle Joko, the carpenter. You kind of look like him, so I could see that. Tall mustache, no? Actually, I also just moved here last winter for work. Where do you work? Okay, Raphael is here, cleaning. I hope it starts raining soon. Yeah, me too, because it would be nice for my crops to be watered. The walking path could do with a good rinse. Pablo spends a lot of time in the garage. He seems to always be calibrating his TV. You know what? Thank you for reminding me. I need to go look at my TV. I don't remember how to get museum open. What the babies? I wonder what mom's gonna get me for my birthday. I hope it's the new Boy Detective shirt. I don't remember who his mom is. Actually, I don't think I ever learned. Oh boy, what a sight to see walking past that construction every morning. I can't believe how beautiful this town has become. It seems like only yesterday it was a tiny little place in the middle of nowhere. It still is. It's such a nice day outside, right? I want to dig up some worms with my friends, but Mom said no. She said that worms belong in the dirt and we shouldn't bother them. Yeah, that's true. That's their home. Alice? Yes. If you're interested in aliens, you should read this book by Professor Kip. He has interesting theories about ET intelligence. I read it back in university. You are an interesting person, Alice. Let me go put this flower away because I'm about to be giving my flowers to everybody and I need to craft a flower bouquet because that might help me get somewhere. I need the museum open, you know? You know? I got all this stuff. Let's go back here. Look at all the animals. Oh my goodness. There's ducks. And ducks. And chickens. I'm done. Being around animals makes me happy, especially this cute little duck. Oh, it has a hat on. Oh my goodness. Big and boopy they are. Oh, is that a raccoon? That's cute. Your adventures with V? I heard about you. I heard you're looking for some fresh air away from the city. Well, I think you came to the right place. I hope you find it here. Fresh air, peace of mind, whatever it might be. All of these animals, even got pigs. I love it. Oh, I haven't met her yet, I don't think. And there's some food. And there's some seeds. This is right now. A new farmer in town? You moved here after the oil spill? Huh. I'm Zara. See you around. Okay. Oh, she don't want to talk to me no more. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, monkey see, monkey do. Monkey, monkey. And that can't be healthy for us to be breathing in as I walk into it. You don't understand what it says. Oh, there's something over here. Danger! Danger! You hear the clanking of swords from inside. You wonder if there's some fighting going on. Get on the floor. Sing it. Been so long. There's something odd about this cabin. It's been on. Ooh. There. Something we have to unlock. What it is that you wanna see? Looking for flowers. I saw more flowers over there. Can I walk across here? Yes, I can. Perfect. Perfect. And I think I have some canola at home. So this might be my bouquet. Bouquet. Is that my cat? Here's a bouquet. It is that you want. I feel like she is low. All right, somebody's house. Are there people in there that I haven't met? Be around that I haven't met. In the cavern, but I can't go. Oh, the observatory. That's it. Just the person in the observatory. Okay. Well, let's drop this stuff off and then go to the observatory. If that person. Ooh. How cute. The feeling right here. Ooh, what is this? Compels. Mushroom, food. Talkie. Good to know that this is. But I don't know what that says. Is that a groundhog? Or a gopher? Oh, this. Sorry, we're closed today, no problem. More compost. More monkeys. Hot spring. Let's go. More siege. More siege. Down there. Another beat. Oh. Another beat. What is this? This observatory? It is! Look at that! Wasn't even meaning to get here right now. Oh, this is nice. Oh! Waku! Adventures with V, did I say that right? Waku, it's a pleasure to meet you. Dad told me about you. He's the one that brought you here on the chicken boat. Yep, the one with the hat. Did I hear a Pokyo accent? Oh, you are? Where in Pokyo are you from? Oh. Up the hill. Which hill? Hell if I know. Figured he would know which hill. Oh, that's his room. Okay, that's a cool room. I wasn't trying to save this stuff. I would have given you a flower. But I know better. Not sure where I am. Hey, Joko. Hope we get some rain soon. Same! All of us are looking forward to rain. Oh, okay. Ooh, another flower. Really time to get home so I can put this stuff much I have. Oh, what? Oh, okay. The recycling center. Is there... You can't use this recycling center. Okay, that is honestly... Blame it on the rain. $380 and I need 500. What am I gonna sell? That's what I have to start doing, right? Selling stuff so I can get 500. I also need to make this, make another one too. I don't have 5 of any flour. Oh, I only had those 3 canola. So let's go to craft another one. Oh. Gift it to someone. Don't worry, I will. Let's go find a friend. But there, I think you can only gift 2 a week. So let me make sure there's nobody that I've given 2 to. Nope, everybody's 1. Did I water? I sure did. That was dramatic. Give it to you. Thank you so much. Welcome. What did I get? Did I get money? No. Darn it. I don't have money to give what I need. would love a starter. Okay. All right. Looking for one cauliflower. I don't have cauliflower. Let me play with. Is this Taco? Taco's busy. Okay. Oh, sorry, Taco. I talked to you already. What are you planting on your farm? I don't remember. I just been talking to him. Have you planted any spring seeds yet? Sugarcane is. Ooh, mine too. Osuki. Speed walking. I was already worried about Valentina roaming the island. Now I have to add a construction site near the school? I hope their safety protocol is airtight. Well, that's right. You know, I have to say, quite a name you've got. Is there a meaning behind it? I am going to lay down some path. Because for day 2, there's not much that we can do. And I want to make money, but what do I want to sell? You know? We need everything. And I don't need any of these things yet, but path we could definitely use. I only have 9 pieces of wood. I feel like wood is easier to come by, so I'm gonna make... Put them down. But I want to do the corners, but like this. All right, well, the idea. Turn this off. Oof. And what else do I want to clear? I want more. I do have to go get that glass that I left back down there. And I do want more wood. Be knocked out. I want to get the glass. Down here though. I guess what I gotta do all the way around. But now that I've cleared space, it should be okay. Okay, so in this one I want things that grow. Let me get this stuff over here. They're just on the opposite, things that don't grow. I mean, hay doesn't grow, but you know. Let's go all around, all the way around. Hopefully those couple pieces of glass are still there. Get those seeds before they turn into trees. Find the sea glass. Oh, there it is. There's one. Not what I was thinking though. Not from yesterday. Alright, I might be able to do one more day. What is this? Okay, you know what? I'm over it. But this stuff away. Or I fall out. And I'll do one more day. Oh, no. I don't know why everything is moved over or something. Okay. Alright. So all I have to do is harvest my first crop, and then I've gotten everything done that they... How to be a farmer. With Jeff Smith. My name is Jeff Smith, and I know a thing or two about farming. I was raised in a farm, so I got some tips for you. Sprouts. Let me tell you about them. I'm gonna tell you the first thing my pop told me when I planted my first corn in, I don't know, Roman numerals. Water your crop every day. That's it. You get that down, chances are you'll be okay. Sprouts. But you don't need to water when it's raining, you hear? Rain. Welcome to WBC, your main weather-related news source. The forecast covers Coral Island and the surrounding areas. Unreasonable. Yes! Downpour is expected tomorrow. Rain is approaching Coral Island. Thank you. Not that it's like, I'm acting like I have a huge farm. You know, I don't, but... Oh, I can make candied tree seed. And I got some extra stamina. Okay. Thank you. Health. I haven't had anything affect my health, I don't think. If I have, I haven't paid attention. There were no more... Alright. No more issues at night. Looking for a way to pass the time, or maybe you want to earn some extra coins? Yes. Okay, when you have a moment, come visit us at the Beach Shack. We have some welcome gifts for you, Sunny and Eleanor. We will be there. You will be there. J for detail. Yay, a bug net and fishing pole. I was wondering how you get those. I forgot. Okay. I'm going to need some fid as well. Oh, let me get the seed. I don't want it to become a tree. I really... And there's a couple more, yeah. There's one. Too late. There's another one. I'm also look at that thing. And I'm gonna try to catch fish because I could not figure out how to catch fish. My other save file. I think I might have figured it out by watching something. I like that this game is encouraging you to clean up. Really good. Especially when you see trash. Let me try this. I don't think it's gonna work. Shut up. Ah, that's so cool. I did not have that on my last one. 20. Flower. Not looking at you. Okay, so oh, I don't actually need another one. I'll say I might be able to make a bouquet. I don't need another bouquet. See, past that. I'm not gonna have enough space. I'm having too much fun grabbing resources. I need to make sure I have 2 empty spaces so I can use the gifts that I'm about to get and collect things. So really I need to clear all of this. But I will never clear these. No reason to. Like that there's wasabi. Personally like wasabi. I like spicy food. Again, I'm having way too much fun grabbing resources. Ugh. Okay, I can come back for all of these things later. Especially because I don't really have places to put them, so... The beach shack down here. It is not. Let me check the thing. Nope. Beach shack, are you open? You are. What? Sonny, we can't do that to the new farmer. I haven't met these people yet. Poor thing will get overwhelmed if we give both things at once. Okay, then we start with fishing. Oh, he's an old person that yells. Who doesn't like fishing? Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to welcome a new face at last. Jim, Adventures with V is here. Nice to meet you. This fool. Nice to finally meet you, Adventures with V. Come have a seat. We were just discussing your welcome gifts. It's fine if you prefer to stand. Gotta keep those leg muscles strong, eh? These laughs. Speaking of leg muscles, I have the perfect workout for you, catching bugs. Yay! Bugs are so creepy. Oh, I see Jim back there. Sit, Adventures with Bee. These animations are nice. So how's farm life so far? It's a bit tiring, yes. Don't forget to take breaks. Even fishing can be tiring if you do it non-stop. Settle a debate for us. Which is better activity, fishing or fun and ever-exciting bug catching? The ladybug. Tired of her. The fishing. Aha, I knew it. Did you hear that, love? Fishing is indeed a better activity. I don't know if it's better. Well, in any case, here's our welcome gift for you, a fish and a bug net. Determined to catch a fish today. You can sell your catch or donate it to the museum. Yes, is this how we unlock the museum? Looks like they're gonna need it. Good luck. I'm gonna sell everything that I get double. Okay. I need to move. There's a bug. There's a bug. There's a bug. Pine Sphinx. Perfectly camouflaged among leaves and grass. I don't know why it's here on the sand. Oh, bronze kelp. Oh, thank you. These loud footprints are killing me. I don't know why it's so funny to me. Oh, another bug. It's a little too late to grab it. Alright, let me put this stuff away. Ooh, actually, the museum, I'm gonna have to come back because I have some other stuff for the museum. But since I'm here, you know why not? It's open. I think this is a cutscene, yep. Scott? Yeah, Scott. Nope, they haven't magically returned. Didn't mean to scare you. Oh, hello there, your Adventures with Bee, right? I'm sorry you caught me at a bad time, but just look at this, it's so empty. My life's work. Last time I put this. Thanks, Adventures with Bee. I've worked so hard to fill the museum. Well, it wasn't completely filled up, but at least it wasn't empty like this. Not gonna lie, when Millie told me the town was gonna sell all of our collection, I was furious. It's not a feeling that I'm used to. It's rude to sell the whole collection. The one thing I was good at that made me feel useful is going to be taken away from me. I couldn't stand it. But deep down, I knew the town really needed the extra funds to clean the well. There wasn't much I could do about it. So I went back to my folks to cool down and think about what I'm gonna do next. That's when I realized I had two options. Am I going to continue the pity party, or am I going to rebuild the museum's collection now that the town isn't in an immediate crisis? That's right, I'm going to rebuild the collection. By the way, I've heard some things about you. People tell me you're good at finding things. Now, I'm not too bad at it myself, but I could... A lot of people are talking about it. I don't know how I feel about that. If you find anything interesting, why don't you bring it over? Let me ask, will I get paid? Of course, we'll have a little something for you as compensation to make it worth your time. So what do you say? Want to help me fill the museum with the treasures of the island? That's what I like to hear. Blinking away. All right. Donate. Okay, so we're gonna get glass. Oh my goodness. Where is Sam? You know what? And that is really great that they do that to give you more space without you having to sell something. Because if you also look at tips on this game, they tell you don't sell this, don't sell that, and it's like, okay, well then what can I sell? It's too early? Darn it. Stays? That's right. Hey, hey, hey. I'll just have a small breakfast here before my doctor's appointment at noon. Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. Just going for a checkup. That's good. Material. Do I have sap in the other one? Because sap should definitely be here. Oh, that's also what I need to... Oof. I also would like to eventually... As organic material as well, but I'm really kind of salty that Sam's isn't open today. But he does deserve a day. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna go. Got it there. Pretty. Oh, and I put... I think I saw it on the... there. Alright, let's... Is there anybody around that we haven't met? Yeah, there is somebody. Go and see who we can see. Met her. Met her. I like that they're actually doing things. Where do you think one should go for my farm? Sure, you're a great cook. But now the person that I didn't know. Who is she? Snuck up, stuck up, snobby. Yoga's good for the soul, haven't you heard? Do it more. That he's really. Oh, Kimba is busy. I talk Kimba. Okay. But there's also Spiker do. Aw, Mr. Fluff. Hold on, babe. Hold on. There's another. Okay. The extras. Yeah, so like the animal. Judge Ross and Derek. Okay. Stop entry. I also like that we can do this anywhere. Nose, I love her nose. And a socket and pin. I don't know if it says that I've met them. I don't think so. Alright, well, we'll go down there. Oh, you run this play. Met all of these people. That's really cool that you could go up to the. Alright, I'm over it. I'm over it. Go down to the beach shack. And then we gotta go fishing. Keep reminding myself, but let me put this. Go through. Can never. Squirrel. A true nomad carrying its home on its back. Aren't expensive. We're gonna get one. Oh, okay. Hmm. Can I get kelp essence? Rainy days were always events when I was younger. We'd have to haul the boat inside the shack so it didn't get rusty. Water across the boat? You know what? I don't know. It seemed to work. Say that I met him. Is this Sam? That is Sam. Trees near the lake are blooming, which means it's the time of year we gather around the lake and barbecue. And that's Eleanor, or Everest, I mean, Jim. Was it raining? No wonder it's colder than usual. So I've met everyone in here. I'm not going to hike today. I'm afraid I might slip. Yeah, that's smart. Okay, so whoever it was has left. I've ever been to the lighthouse. Footsteps. Why does it have me turn the other way? Are you looking for farming advice? Never worked the land myself. I'm more at home at sea. That's for my plants here. Did it say that we hadn't met him? Urge me to come here? Alright, let's fish. Space for at least one. No, I can't go there? Okay. See, it says hold to reel in. It's a big, juicy fish. Yeah, no. It's too strong. Go to my little... Drop this off at the... Go to my little... Probably cancer-causing. It's supposed to be about saving the environment. They got... What looks like... They have 2 heads. 3 arms. Alright, let's just try it since I'm here. Oh, look, the frog is so cute. Oh, another big juicy fish. Okay. That's something. Can donate it. Okay. Alright. Let's drop some stuff out well. Alright, alright. Um, oh, a flyer, like literally. I'm thinking, oh, is that an animal? No, it's fish. Well, can we sell it? Let's go. I keep trying, really. That's what I need to do. Give up. I said I'm gonna catch a fish, and I didn't catch a fish, so. Ah. See, when it has like the to do. Don't know what to do. Look up fishing tips, and I'll do that for next time. But that's one thing I didn't get into. See, I just don't get it. I don't get it. When it starts shaking, this was the root. Said that I'm competition. I wasn't trying to compete with you, but jeez. Can't donate the flyer, so we will put it to sell. You run around like a ooh. There's one to sell. Yep, because we've already donated it. It would tell you when you just go like that. Oh, you just closed. Release. Post. What is this? Let's see if these people are home. That's a nice kitchen. Nobody's home. You guys should lock your doors. Oh, she. Yep. Her room is nice though. Pretty. Oh, there he was. There's another one, but I think it's a different. Oh, that's a snail. There's another snail. Okay, we're gonna make some money. We are gonna make some money. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Can I get it? Nope. It's fine. Cancer causing stuff. I don't think I can do this yet. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, cricket. Dropping that off. And there's different levels to this stuff. Very pretty. You wonder what these swirling flowers are. mean, other than it being a lotus, yes, I do. Time for me to go. So pretty. Look, can I fish here? We can. I feel like this fish is a little smaller. Okay. Alright, well, you know. Yep, my alarm just went off. Time to go. Done what I can do. Run out. Got in my hand. Oh, here's a Bobby. To the oh shoot. Got that one. Shoot, and I still haven't gotten that one. Honey. Okay. Talk to him today? I don't think so. Oh, hey, what's up? We're working every day to get this done. Please be patient with us. I don't know if we want this done, though. There's snail. Okay. Oh, inventory is full. Okay. But if I go and donate these, then can I come back and the Polyphemus moth is still there? Donate. Yeah. It's Polyphemus. So there, I was gone for 5 seconds. Then I'm gonna drop all of them off except for that, because it's a like bronze quality. Reward, candy tree seed. No. Where's my other? Okay, there's that. Yeah, they try to show you what you've donated. It's not. Do that in Dinkum too. Makes sense. I gotta go to the carpenter as well, but that'll be for another day. Get the stuff that. Oh, but you need the kelp essence, I believe. So we're gonna do the flyer. Pine Sphinx and those 4. I'll just sell the trash, but I know that I'm gonna need it. Really, we should probably be planting. I mean, we have some. Why not, right? And it's raining. Plus. Yeah. 6 more. I can, but food. But 60? Well, yeah, we can eat 60. And now, since we're here, oh, make it worth it. Got more wild seeds. Well, that's nice. All of this, oh, no. Well, trash. Take no wood. Right. Put all my stuff away that I want away. Yeah. Bed and leave. Like, forecast. Welcome to WBC, your main weather-related news source. Yada yada. Oh no, Sunny. Passion and music bring these 5 girls together. Can they overcome the harsh world of C-pop? That's funny. Coral Island Pop. Hello, producers. I'll be your representative in this show. Welcome to Coral Stars. Today, 5 girls will start their fight in the world of C-pop. They will start their voice lessons, memorize choreography, and give their all in stages, prepared to test their result practices. However, your participation will also be essential in realizing the dreams of these hopeful idols. Now, without further ado, Coral Stars, please introduce yourselves. Star in your eyes, hello. We are Coral Stars. As you can see, they're very determined to debut. Leader, any words for our producers? Yes, producers, thank you for giving us the chance to showcase our skills. We will not let you down and always perform our best. Very good. Next week, we will have our first choreography lesson with C-pop veterans, so be sure to stay tuned, producers. Goodbye. Next week on Coral Stars. With that attitude, you should quit before wasting everyone's time. Coral Stars are now facing the harsh truth. Can they weather the storm? Dramatic. Go to sleep. Yes. I think that's always what we like to see. Uh-oh. Okay. Plus 100. Actually, let me go. I just want to peek. And we harvest something today. Oh, but wait, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. Well, I guess this is a sneak peek. Okay. Hello, hello. What could be better than a visit from your local blacksmith? Word around town is that you've started to mine the earth shaft. I have not, but okay. That's actually why I'm here. As you mine, you'll come across ores. What good does that do me? You might be thinking. Well, you can turn ores into bars. With enough bars, our shop can upgrade your tools. Work smarter, not harder, as I like to say. For a fee, of course. Heh, heh. To make bars, you'll need a furnace, which you now can craft courtesy of this blueprint. Well, thanks, Pablo. You need 5 of the same ores to make 1 bar. You'll also need 1 charcoal to fire up the furnace. Yep, I think you're all set now. All I wanted to do was see. Okay, I can't even harvest. All right. So this is where we're gonna leave off. Quit to desktop. Not saving this, so I don't think we're gonna come back to the same day. I think it's gonna be speaking to Pablo again when I come back, which I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with. Interesting. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. I work a short shift tonight, so I might actually come back and do this later because I really like this game. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Have a great night.